All right, here we go. Hi, this is James O'Keefe. I'm captain of the Massachusetts Pirate Party, and I'm joined by Steve Revelak, our first officer. Last week, Malt and Joe regaled you with pirate news, and this time it's Steve and my opportunity. So unless Malt manages to jump on the chat at some point, which we hope so. Unfortunately, Joe is busy and will not be able to make it today. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. And, if you like this live stream, please like it, subscribe, click that bell. You can always find us at masspirates.org. We're always looking for folks who want to help build a pirate party in Massachusetts. So how have you been, Steve?
I've been humid. I think there's a lot of that going around right now, so it's not a unique condition to me.
Yes, and it's one that is going to pick up more, apparently.
Oh, yeah. If you thought today was if you live in Massachusetts and you thought today was warm, well, wait till tomorrow. Wait till Tuesday. We have another. I don't know if we broke 90 today, but we definitely
89.
have. Okay,
CBP said 89.
So the heat wave should be starting officially tomorrow, but from what I understand, we will be having a heat wave.
Right, and of course in Seattle and Portland, which is not used to these temperatures, they've been hitting high temperatures. I saw Utah, I think it hit, I don't know, over 110, if I recall correctly, a while ago. And just to move things up, what else? They hit 118 in the Arctic in Siberia, which, is just going to have little things like melting the permafrost, releasing more methane, which is 30 times more powerful than CO2 as a global warming gas, just increasing the misery we'll go through in the future. So, great.
Things to look forward to, I guess.
Reason to be cheerful part. No. That's a good song.
So anyway, on to other topics.
Yes.
So one of the things that caught my attention from this week's news was a couple of things that came out of the House Judiciary Committee. So for years now, there's been kind of ruminations of passing legislation to put a little bit of a leash on big tech. And it seems like we're getting close to the point where this may actually happen. So some of the things that came out of the House Judiciary Committee were things like requiring, some of these big websites to, be able to exchange data with, other platforms and services. So if you think not so much, website having platform, but protocols that you could exchange between sites like, email or IRC. There's provisions to prevent tech companies from, venue shopping if they're sued by a state attorney general. They'll have to, I believe, go to court in that state or where the attorney general wishes to do something. Flipping over to an article on Politico about this. Other things, one that's kind of big is a prohibition that would, keep big digital platforms from running a platform that is used by themselves and other third parties. Like, I guess the Amazon is probably the best example of this. So it would basically prohibit Amazon from having third-party vendors or, using or selling stuff themselves. There's regulations on mergers and acquisitions and, provisions that would bar platforms from giving their own products unfair advantages over those of competitors. So this is, what's also very interesting, especially in this time, is that this actual effort cuts across party lines. So there are Democrats that support and oppose it, and there are also Republicans that support and oppose it. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes over the next, the remainder of the legislative session.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I mean, certainly, being able to, one of the things that Amazon has done is they see something that a company's making that's working well, and they'll create their own knockoff. I saw something from, I think it was Peak Design, where they have a particular bag for photography folks like me, and you can basically they're specifically they make sure the people who are making it are paid a fair wage. They're responsible in terms of their sourcing. They have, a new design, and Amazon copied the design, but not the sourcing, or not paying people well. And just trying to undercut them. And, that's Amazon shouldn't be able to use its market power to be able to do that. That's just unmarket friendly. But that succeeded in the committee, yes?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's been, these were a set of bills that were voted out of committee. So presumably they go to the House at some point.
Do we know if it needs to go to any other committee?
That I do not know.
Okay. Well, we'll have to pay more attention to it and advocate for it, because we certainly need more. We need to break these folks up. There's no reason to have large companies.
One trust busting and going after corporate monopolies was a thing at one point in time, and it's something that hasn't been done seriously in, I believe, decades. Probably not since the 70s or 80s even. But
AT&T, I think, was like the last one, right?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. But it is. I think there is an advantage to having alternatives and having competition. And hopefully they'll do the same thing for broadband providers at some point. But baby steps, man, baby steps.
Yeah, I saw something where the fourth largest broadband company said, "Oh, the pandemic is over, so we're going to reduce your outgoing throughput by 86%. Why? Oh, because everyone else is doing that. They don't need to do that. There's no technology issue involved. There's just things. Hey, it reduces our costs marginally, so we'll bank those profits or something."
No, I mean, one of the things the pandemic, I think, has shown pretty clearly that for the the work at home cohort, broadband is a utility. I mean, losing your broadband is not that far, is pretty close to just losing your electricity. You can't you could only do so much without it. We're quite dependent upon it. And I mean, I would like to, at some point, hopefully we'll get there, see the telcos regulated as utilities rather than information service providers. But that's just me.
I completely agree with you.
So what else is going on, Jamie?
So this came across recently. So apparently there's a micro gig worker app with a photography focus called Promise. And the Wall Street Journal recently reported on it, that basically it's people can get paid for a couple minutes worth of between 5 and 10 cents, and they're given a task to go photograph something and upload the photo, and then they get paid. And in some ways, there might be legitimate uses for that. But one of the things, apparently, the U.S. military, specifically the Air Force and the Army, have paid at least, or maybe not just the U.S. military, but there have been $5 million that have been paid to Promise in military projects. So basically, they've gone out to people in various countries and said, photograph this, and they've been using it for intelligence gathering, crowdsourced intelligence gathering at, a dime a piece.
It's, I was going to say, I mean, heck, if Amazon can do it, we're talking about U-Ring. Sure, I could totally see the military getting in on it. I looked at you'd sent an article, which, I presume we'll get into the video description later, but, with a screenshot of, some of what someone using this app might see in terms of, what kind of tasks and what the compensation was. And so these are short tasks that take 3 to 4 minutes a piece, and they're willing to pay a dime. That's $2 an hour. That's crap, man.
I don't think this is aimed at the U.S. I think this is aimed at developing countries, whether Yemen or Iraq, Afghanistan, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere where U.S. military forces are engaged. But yeah, I mean, 5 or 10 cents seems nothing.
I mean, it's not like, our military kind of has a big budget. You'd think they could do better than that.
I mean, last I knew, they did get a raise. I guess there's some military folks who are complaining about not being above the rate of inflation, to which I would have to say, yeah, that's kind of been the rest of the budget for the last 30 years. So
the rest of the world for the last 30 years.
Our pay. Yeah, absolutely. So, we're going to see if these apps start proliferating even more. Mm-hmm. But it's really kind of gamified intelligence gathering that can be used by corporations or can be used by, in this case, the military. So,
I wouldn't be surprised if one day we find out that Pokemon was just, something that came out of In-Q-Tel. Now, I don't actually believe this is true, but
that would be Pokemon Go.
This occasionally spooks are clever. I have to give them that.
Occasionally, though, it's funny. If you look back at it, it's amazing. I don't know how many times they tried to kill Castro, man, and they never succeeded. So, anyhow, and there's something good about that, I think. Fewer people we kill, the better.
Lightweight ordnance exploding cigar. You were saying?
No. I mean, I think it was one that came out recently was, I believe we talked about it a couple episodes ago, was Raul Castro. I think it was Raul. They decided that they were going to, someone came forward and was like, oh, he's going to be here on this flight and I'm the pilot. And they're like, okay, we will make sure your kid gets a college education. You just, crash that plane and kill everyone aboard. It was just literally like, in the end, the guy did not go through with it. He did defect to the U.S., but it's just kind of amazing to me that literally like, yeah, you just go kill yourself. Like, and everyone on the plane, sure, just to get one guy. I don't know. But, the CIA did the Bay of Pigs and Vietnam and plenty of other places. So, there you go. So We, just for folks to know, we don't currently have any other events coming up. We are looking at having our next democracy meeting tentatively the 17th of July. And for those of you who want to go to it, there's on July 4th, there is the Anti-Imperialist Picnic in Alston Brighton, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so, that's something for folks to do. Get out, socialize. And that's where we are. I mean, the next, we would normally scheduled for the 4th. We haven't figured out if that's definitely something we're going to do since it is Independence Day in the United States. If you have an opinion, please add it to the chat, or otherwise tell us about it. So we'll see. If we're available, we'll do it. But, holidays are important. We need more of them. So with that, I just want to thank Steve for joining me here. Unfortunately, we did not have the dulcet tones of Malt, nor the wisdom of Joe today. Hopefully, we are a sufficiently interesting facsimile thereof. And I want to thank you for viewing. Please like, subscribe, click that bell, leave us a comment. And as always, you can check us out at masspirates.org. We're looking for folks to help us build the Massachusetts Pirate Party. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Steve.
Have a good night.